I don't stink think.
Oh. Before that happened. Gross. Oh, wow, but you could kind of... That wasn't a terrible hit rhythmically.
Boing. Boing. Yeah.
That's a different
I'm getting better. Well, yeah, I wasn't trying on that one.
Well, that was in key. Do it again. No. Give me the horn. Give me the horn again. I love that. Send me that audio file. I'm making a remix. Wow. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Comics Place presents an absolutely epic intro. Brought to you by The Comics Place in Bellingham, Washington. This is a comic book podcast where three grown men fall in love with a soundboard, a new soundboard. Three grown...
Groan.
Certainly grown ups, but not grown men. This is a comic book podcast where three intrepid young explorers, discoverers, read a mountain of comic books that were released that week and other weeks, and come here into a digital fire space, a digital bonfire where we've been coming from different times, different lands, different places, different journeys. However, in this mythical, ethereal bonfire, we can sit and discuss and see the silhouettes and, ghosts of those other travelers on a similar journey. That's all Dark Souls, guys. I just gotta play Dark Souls right now. But in the meantime, I'm going to be talking about The Bonfire as if it's a comic book podcast. We run a comic shop in Bellingham, Washington. I'm Jeff, and I play Dark Souls.
I'm Django, and all I know about Dark Souls is something about the sun.
And I'm Roman, and I play Donkey Kong Jr.
Praise the sun is what Django means. Little fat guys.
That's what it is.
Oh, my gosh. Have we recovered from Free Comic Book Day? How's everybody doing? Roman, how many miles did you walk that day?
75.
75 miles. That's great.
Yep.
Roman, did you
my little counter?
Twice
did you come to Free Comic Book Day?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I saw him in the basement.
I did. I didn't get any free comics. I would just socialized and hugged people, and that was it.
We had some great folks around that day. But with Roman came, and we'll give an audio shout out to our old friend Annalie Peck. Who came by for Free Comic Book Day, who used to work at the Comics Place before Jeff worked there, when Jeff was a lowly young subscriber. And one of the things, on top of Roman's kind of constant, open-hearted, empathetic friendliness, was that, a girl who was older than me that worked at a comic shop and therefore was way cooler than me. I walked in, and we were wearing the same Doc Marten shoes in the same color. Oh. And she made a big deal about it, and it allowed me to feel more comfortable and welcome in that space. And it's been 13 years now of just trying to carry that moment on for a whole bunch of other people in the world of comic books.
That's why you talk about everybody's shoes. What is that? Is that you?
Oh, that buzzing sound? Yes. My neighbor's mowing his lawn.
Oh, good.
That's good.
Excellent.
That might require some judicious usage of your mute buttons. So don't forget to know that Shift Command 4 is mute. Shift Command A. Shift Command. Oh, sorry. Never mind.
Not A here.
Bad things.
Not 4 here.
No, that's not why we're here to teach older people about shortcuts on computers. Although Django does have documents filled with shortcuts for people. But no, we're here to talk about a different kind of shortcut. The shortcuts in our lives that we're able to take with comic books. I don't know if Roman's frozen. No, he's there.
No, he was just muted, but he unmuted in time for the motorcycle.
Love it. No. I was getting.
I thought it went by already.
Right, the shortcuts of our lives. So we're here to take a different kind of shortcut. The shortcuts that we can take. Like when you get to the bonfire and all the doors around you are locked except for one, and then you go for like 4 hours through this map and you think that you're super far away and you drop down a building and then open a door and you've somehow unlocked one of the doors in that main room that you started in. Everything's
Hashtag
beautiful.
Dark Souls.
Hashtag Dark Souls. No, the shortcuts we get to take in our lives with comic books, because much like in the way that artists and writers get to stand on the shoulders of giants and study the work and being of the people who've created the art that came before them, we too get to stand on the shoulders of those giants by engaging in a very vulnerable and personal medium that allows people to tell stories about life and heroes and morality. And in doing so, we can take those lessons into ourselves and become better people just by reading comic books. So this is Comics Place presents A Path Towards Being Better, episode 1.
That's pretty good. New season.
New season. Comics Place presents A Path Towards Self-Improvement.
Wait, that's different.
It's the same, but it's better. See, it was self-improving. Path to self-improvement and empowerment. A path towards self-improvement. That is what it is. And we got some comic books this week that are really going to help us be better people. Are you morally and academically lost in the streets of a future techno world, and you need to be taken under the wing of a brave bird like Abraham Lincoln to be ushered through this new and strange land? Are you being asked to lie for your country, to represent things in a way that they're not? Come along with us. Come along with us, Django and Roman, as we discuss comic books. If destruction be our lot, ...
Oh, I missed the ... dots. Number 1.
I did until this moment, but it is. If destruction be our lot, ellipses. Is that what that is?
Yes.
3
dots is an ellipses.
Yes. Image Comics pooped out a new number 1 this week. And interestingly, this is written by Matthew Rosenberg, but there are 2 Rosenbergs credited as the writers. This is written by Matthew and Mark Elijah Rosenberg.
Yeah.
Interesting, right? Son?
Cousin? Brother?
Cousin? I bet it's brother-in-law. I bet it's like, hey, I got married and, I can look like a pretty good husband to your sister if we write a comic together.
Nice. Yeah.
Took
her name. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I know it felt pretty Matt Rosenberg-y to me.
It felt pretty Matt Rosenberg-y to me as well. Although, what do we know about Matt Rosenberg first issues? There's usually, it feels like kind of a lot going on. And I'm trying to put my feet down in a world that is kind of spinning and moving forward. So there's like a lot of balls in the air, a lot of things being juggled to understand what's going on. And I will say that sometimes I can leave a first issue of a Rosen book with a little bit of like confusion and not necessarily know what I'm. All that to say, this first issue, while being double sized, I thought did a very good job of kind of giving me a look at what this world is and in the absurdity that is this pitch, making it feel believable and somehow like very human in this world of robots.
Yeah, so it's basically like a world after humans, and Abraham Lincoln is walking around. He's kind of the protagonist for us, but he's the only human-shaped robot, and I feel like he comes from the Hall of Presidents or something, right? And he just always kind of walks around delivering Abraham Lincoln speeches, but he's a little bit broken, so they're kind of fractured and weird. And he ends up getting sort of wrapped up in this adventure on a bus, like an automated bus, because there's no humans driving. And the bus is like takes him on a little adventure. He pulls the bus way out of its comfort zone, and they discover, spoiler alert, there's a human, and things are maybe not quite as they seem, but yeah, still a lot of robots around.
Pretty much all robots around. I thought, in the kind of absurdity of that world, if you needed a robot protagonist for us as people to be following through whatever the larger arc of this story is, I think Robot Abe Lincoln is a kind of hilariously compelling person to do it, because we are in the far future where like humanity and humans are nowhere to be seen, and we do just have robots.
Yeah.
So like even in modern day society here in the outside world, Abe Lincoln is like an archon or a moral paragon, right, of what we want to be. He embodies something, but also like a humanist look at, treating people equally. So to have him be the enduring legacy to robots of what humans are is,
right,
I think, awesome and
you just
kind of hilarious and compelling.
You just said a word I don't know, archon.
I meant archetype, but archon is a word and is a thing, and I think it is like a magic alien.
Okay.
All
right.
You go on. I'll look it up.
Okay.
Like Jesus?
Yes, Jesus was a magic alien, and Abraham Lincoln was a robot.
Wow.
Archon is a chief magistrate in ancient Athens, a spiritual ruler in Gnostic traditions, or a high-ranking leader.
Okay. All right. Maybe the Archanoid is the alien one.
Well, no, there's dark archons that you can summon as a Protoss in StarCraft. I know Kyle Northrup knows about StarCraft.
Okay, so I mean the plot here is pretty straightforward. There's a lot of words that drive this plot, right? But the plot itself is pretty simple. Andy McDonald drew this, and I thought the art was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think the art was pretty awesome. There are some pretty unusual, in a good way, like unique interpretations of robots in the future in this. Like a lot of them didn't look like, here's your typical robot, And while there were certainly like the Abe Lincoln prototype robot there's also like a giant red gooey things that look like it belongs in a From Software game.
Yeah.
And you got like sentient buses and stuff, which I liked, and it harkened a little bit back to like Danny the Bus.
I was thinking of the train from the Dark Tower series, the Wastelands.
Oh, nice. Okay. But yeah, I think the art did a fantastic job of carrying a lot of weight in a story that, in classically Rosenberg fashion, like there's a lot to kind of understand. And to get my finger on the pulse of the story he's trying to tell, oftentimes takes a little bit more effort from my part than a lot of readers or like a lot of writers, but I think it's often because those things are like more rewarding. So it's interesting and fun to think that like this book just came out this week. So he was like turning the gears and working on this story when he was in our store and we were hanging out with him.
Yeah, I'm sure he was.
I love thinking about that. Like comics have a small enough time period and they keep things under the vest that like, I do always love to be like, oh, you were working on issue 2 of this when I saw you at Emerald City.
I wonder what, like, he did that trip. They did
Tyler Boss,
28 stores in 31 days or something like that. I wonder what comics came out of that or what concepts came out of that, because getting out of your normal routine really, like, it always makes me think about things differently, and I wonder what a writer like him comes up with in that situation.
Totally. Or kind of like the pandemic, like we got to leave. It would be a shame to leave this adventure with nothing to show for it, right?
Yeah.
So like, let's make a documentary or something as we go through these lands.
Totally.
But yeah, I'm quite interested to see what will happen next in this series, because it had a pretty abrupt ending to it. And again, because Abraham Lincoln is this kind of main identifiable character who is on a path of goodness trying to save a human, it does like conjure more empathy, at least within me, than a random robot would have, right? Like I have more of a vested interest in the housed goals of Abraham Lincoln than I would be a lot of things. So it's like a way that I can be kind of grounded in understanding his goals.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to be buddies with this bus the whole time, because that would be even funnier.
Yeah.
I wonder if the bus gets to have its consciousness put into something a little, I don't want to say more portable, but a little more agile.
Yeah.
Buses are pretty portable.
Well, here's the thing about a book like this is that you got to score it. You know, you get a book, you get the Rosenbergs on it, you get Andy McDonald, not to be confused with Django's friend Andy, who's also an artist, but
Yeah.
It's going to need a score, and my score for it is 8.5.
Yeah, that's a pretty good score. I'm going to give it an 8.0.
Yeah.
Maybe just more words than I really wanted.
Django, look at that.
Yeah.
That says 8.0/8.5.
Nice.
That was where I was at.
We should do a matrix before each one of these episodes where we try to guess what each other's scores are going to be.
I would love that. 8.5 is always a safe guess for a Jeff score.
Speaking of scores, this is a little bit out of order, but I just got a voicemail from Will Elmer here.
Oh my God. Oh. I didn't.
Hey guys, it's Will Elmer. I just wanted to tell you that I'm at some sort of
Mariners game
that I just sent Django a picture of, and I'm just super stoked to be at this game, and it made me kind of start wondering, what's your favorite sports-themed comic book? I don't think I've asked this in the last 6 weeks, but I'm really not sure.
Wow, really good question, Will.
Turnips. Love you guys. Slayer dudes. Turn up. Awesome. Bye. Thanks for calling, Will.
Will, you had texted me and said that you're at a Mariners game and weren't going to be able to shoot us a thing. God, it is so like you to go above and beyond. You know, you're a guy who hangs out at the door of our shop at Free Comic Book Day for 5 hours. That's a great question. Favorite sports-themed comic book or graphic novel? Because if I have to think about it, I think there's a lot more sports-themed manga than there are Western comics. Yeah. I'm going to give a shout out for the Boom comic series Slam that was about some badass roller derby girls, but that was one that derby is a pretty big thing in Bellingham, so I ended up getting those issues and taking them home for my wife Sam, who really loved it and read both volumes. Sam the Slammer.
The first one that jumped to my mind was Fence. Have not read more than the first issue or two of it. Also from Boom. There's a manga right now that's a huge
Blue Lock
manga. That's not the one I'm thinking of, but okay. Yeah. This is
Prince of Tennis.
Oh, but those both sound like pretty good titles.
Yeah.
I can't think of a single. Well, there was was it a Jason? No, it was a Lee Bermejo football guy comes back to town and has to
Revengers?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of a lot of sports comics though that I've
read. Django, you didn't read that one. What was the title? It just wrapped up the wrestling heist.
Oh, Wrestle Heist.
We talked about that last week. I had no idea that was even coming out. I'm surprised I missed it because I love Kyle Starks.
Oh yeah. And you love a heist story.
I love a heist story.
Yeah.
Prince of Tennis is a long-running, super famous manga. Blue Lock is one that we are now sporting a very tall cardboard standout of Blue Lock in our store, very high up. It's awesome. But if you like soccer, Blue Lock. There is some fencing manga as well. Basketball, like manga has been doing sports stories very well for a very long time. It's one of the prominent genres. So if you are interested in sports stuff, I would pursue the manga world. However, I feel like Roman had been reading a sport thing for a while years ago.
Check, please. That's the one I was thinking of.
Oh, yeah, the Boom hockey one.
Wow. Oh, okay. What? I don't know what sport book I was reading for a while. What?
Yeah.
I mean, Rooster Fighter, but that's not really sports.
Yeah. No, disregard it. Probably just incorrect foggy memory.
To answer Will's hasty question there, I got to go with the classic: Superman versus Muhammad Ali.
Oh,
nice.
I still love reading that book every couple of years.
Dang, that's a really good answer.
It's a good call.
Thanks.
Will, thank you so much for writing in. Django, did you have another answer?
No. I was just about to say thanks for writing in, Will. But you got it.
Really nice of you. I also received an email from somebody who deserves a shout out every single week, Andrew Carlson.
Well, it said explosion. I thought it'd be way cooler than that.
It was not as cool as we'd hope, but it was fun. Andrew Carlson wrote in question trivia for CPP 426. Hey, gang. As the resident editor and semi-historian of the podcast, I gotta correct y'all on a statement you made last week. There has been an episode where y'all went, okay, this is too many questions. Can you guess which one it was? Bonus point if you can figure out who sent you over the breaking point. What is the point for? You may ask. Well, I got nothing. I'd say a hug, but you'd get one from me anyway. So what'll it be? FOTS, EOTS, Andrew. The answer is below. Stop reading until you discuss. We did. Was it 150? Was
100 or 150? Yeah.
Was like all questions. I could see that, but who sent us over the edge? Probably somebody who sent a question with a bunch of sub questions. I bet it was Andrew.
I bet it was Andrew too.
I bet Andrew sent us over the edge. All right, I'm going to scroll down and see.
Do you want to know my? Well, yeah. Tell us this, and I'm going to tell you my greatest shame for this podcast.
Okay, episode 140 was the big Q&A episode. Weird. You had to split it into 2 separate 2-hour episodes because of how many questions. And the answer of who broke you, it was me. I sent an email with about 19 questions. I think most of these remain unanswered to this day, but the email has since been lost to me. I'm going to find that Andrew email.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to get to the other questions.
Find that email, Andrew. I'm going to find that Andrew email. Cheers to being less than 20 episodes from editing 200 episodes and less than 50 until I've edited more episodes than Jeff. Crazy stuff. 426. Yeah. Wow. I can't wait.
Amazing.
I can't wait for those days to be as forgotten to me as they mostly are now. Holy crap. Thanks for writing in, Andrew. And I'm glad that we knew it was Andrew that broke us. But I truly think it's probably because there are very few people that we are so comfortable with as Andrew to be like, fuck this question.
We're out. I'm going to bed.
Going to bed. Okay. All right. Other comic books came out this week, and one of them had to do with woof woofs. Dogs.
Dogs.
You know, dogs. But listen, that name's a little bit of a misnomer, but Dog Tag #1 from Mad Cave Comics this week. Nope, we can't talk about this one because holy shit, Roman didn't read this one either.
I did read this one.
Okay, sorry, never mind. Okay, good. Woo, sorry. Oh, I was thinking about Mad Cave art. Yeah,
image on or off?
On. I do like the rave effect.
On. Okay, on. Image on.
Yeah. Dog tags. Roman, you read this. Tell us a little bit about the dog tag. Did you like it? Did you hate it?
I did like it, and it was cool that it reminded me about a bunch of World War II D-Day history that I'd forgotten about. That that we tricked the dirty Axis with our little deceptive ploys and inflatable tanks and fake dummy parachutes and stuff.
Were there inflatable tanks?
Yeah.
Holy crap!
Yeah, that's an actual historical thing. But
that's what makes Mark Russell perfect for this book.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did they really deflate them just by stabbing them with bayonets? Because I saw that and I was like, no, you might need them again.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, geez, that's wasteful. I mean, come on,
just put them in the basement, guys.
It's
Django would say that.
And it's obviously
we can have a sale. Tactic. We can have a military sale.
You can hang them from the ceiling, and
it's a damn shame.
Yeah. I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, Mark Russell is the writer. P.J. Holden, Pencils and Inks, which I'm not familiar with P.J. Holden. There's kind of a little bit of.
It's an oddly familiar name.
Is it? I thought his art is a little bit reminiscent of he works with Garth Ennis a lot. I'm blanking on his name.
Jason Burroughs.
No.
Steve Dillon. It did. It looked a little bit like kind of both of those guys in my mind, because Steve Dillon can kind of have a long face, thin line, liney look, which is what Jason Burroughs definitely does. So I had that same thought, Roman.
Well, Derek Robertson in there too.
D-Rob.
Yeah, and it's a great premise. This guy, it's 1944. This guy's considers himself a journalist, but he does a column and cartoons for the Stars and Stripes, and they call him into the office over there in England, and because they're planning D-Day, but they're trying to keep it a secret from the Nazis, and they want to assign this guy to write. He's a pretty low-level guy. He's not, big media, so they want him to write fake stories about this fake, which is also a real thing for history, this ghost army that came to be called. That was part of the deception, so that when the Nazis saw that, they'd be like, "Oh, here's their plan. Now we know what they're doing." And this guy kind of doesn't want to, because he wants to do serious journalism and he wants to go to the front and cover the actual war and everything. But what a dope! I wouldn't want to go to the front. That's crazy.
Dude, isn't it crazy that like it's only been 80 years and that type of like World War deception just seems adorable? Like, oh my god, to blow up tanks because we don't want them to know. Now it's like horrible, insidious, making people doubt and hate one another on the same team and subverting everyone's belief on what's real. And this was just like, we got these blow up tanks.
Nowadays, you couldn't just. They've got some kind of devices from 80,000 miles away that can detect, oh, that's a blow-up tank.
Yeah. Yep. Never again.
Yeah.
So like this whole thing, this whole issue is basically like the dude getting asked to do the fake news stories, and then he gets sent to help with the wounded. He's not helping the wounded. He's just collecting their dog tags when they die,
Hence
like on the docks, right? But we get like 2 short vignettes about the war here, right?
Yeah,
we get one about him in this bullshit camp, and then one about him dealing with like exactly the opposite of that, right? The horrors of all these people dying on the docks. And then he gets sent off to France, is that right? They sent him to France, and he like shows up on the beach. And I don't know, what is this going to be? How many issues is this? This is
I think it's
6 issues. That's a lot of issues.
I didn't know if it was all one-shot stories, but the continuation note makes me think it's the same dude.
Yeah. And just like, big fan of Mark Russell. Also a really big fan of Garth Ennis. And this feels like the perfect thing for Mark Russell to do. This feels like Garth Ennis, but with a little less meanness.
I couldn't agree more. I think that this is such a perfect thing for Mark Russell, like to the point where like, I wasn't sure if this was a real event that happened or not. Mm-hmm. Like, were we doing this type of deception? Because it seems like such a Mark Russellism. Right. But then you have things like our main character's name is Tom Fuller, and he has an article called Tom Fullery. And it's like, well, that's a Mark Russell thing for sure. And like all the articles are like when he writes his fake article about the ketchup, and like they're like, oh, we might have some bets on tank races or something. And then like a couple pages later, someone's like, I would really bet on those tank races. You're just like, that is the type of satire that like I can't think of anybody else pulling off effectively. He is perfect for this, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be totally bereft of humor and just like straight up war, because that's kind of what the solicitation made it seem like. But that also is kind of what it is. Mark Russell can't help but be kind of clever and funny at the same time.
Yeah.
It's such a perfect marriage for a subject matter in a book, and I'm really glad he's doing it.
The cover for the next issue is another kind of extreme close-up on just boots on a battlefield
on the ground.
And I'm excited to see what these like just the whole series covers, if they keep up with this theme, is going to be a striking what is that, a sextet of covers.
Well.
You know what I mean.
I do. My score for dog tag is higher than in Destruction BR a lot. I gave dog tag number 1 a 9.0. Probably, like the art I think was totally fine, but just an artist that really excited me is probably what would put this at a 10.
I also gave it a 9, and PJ Holden did Dark Pyramid.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then a couple of little like Catacomb of Torment and Cruel Kingdom and stuff. But yeah, not a ton that I've found for his art. What kind of score would you give that, Roman?
I will also give it a 9. I really liked it, and I didn't read any solicitations about it, so up until the end, I thought, or almost the end, I thought the series was just going to be dealing with leading up to D-Day, to the Normandy invasion, but no, we're going to follow this poor sucker, into the land invasion, and just following him through France there and trying to meet up with the Russians and everything. It's going to be harrowing.
It's going to be harrowing is exactly the word I was thinking.
Yeah. Dog tag number 1.
Dog tag number 1. Hey, Roman, can I talk to you for a second about something I think only the two of us read?
You can always talk to me about anything.
Thanks, Roman. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about Amazing Spider-Man number 28 because
except that.
did you read it?
No, I read it.
Okay. That would have been very good, Roman. Joe Kelly, Corey Smith, Amazing Spider-Man. I bring it up because Spider-Man in Joe Kelly's run has just had all of these sort of like editorial foibles, which seems to be a story with Marvel at this time. But his run started as like 8 issues of a different volumes numbering, and then started back over at number 1 with him, who had already been writing it. And then it's been a part of 2 different events. And throughout it, Peter Parker has not been on Earth for several months. It's been like a comedy of errors for a book that should just be like, can you just tell me stories about Spider-Man? Like, I just want Amazing Spider-Man to say, I'm Peter Parker and I'm thwipping happy to be here. So this issue is the first issue back after the previous event ended, which was Death Spiral. So that meant every issue of this was a chapter that you had to follow other books for. So I just been wanting to follow Peter Parker in this series, and this issue was very much like a kind of cleaning the palette of getting back into a story that seems to be probably contained from this series and kind of has a singular direction that is the writer and not kind of fitting in with larger events. However, Django.
Yes.
In that first little 8-issue thing, it was called The 8 Deaths of Peter Parker, right? He was doing all this stuff. It's and dying and stuff, whatever. That was Joe Kelly's beginning of this run. But at some point in that run, the way that he gets out of a terrible situation is he made like a deal with Doctor Strange, and like out of nowhere, a future version of Spider-Man pops through and like socks the bad guy and helps him save the day. He's only there for like 25 seconds. And he gives Peter some wisdom. And then he goes back to his timeline. The beginning of this issue, he gets a notification. It's like, hey, man, you remember like months ago when you called the future? Well, like now that's you, and you have to go do that.
The debt is due.
You have to be the person who jumps in. And he's like, I don't have time to do that. I'm Spider-Man. I'm doing all this other stuff. And so it was just a great little bit of time travel theory. Kind of like Back to the Future of just like, Joe Kelly had started this run, and that seemed like a throwaway moment earlier on, but here we are. It's maybe been a year, and like we're back to that spot, and you're like, oh, I remember that. You have to jump through it, but then you see the context of everything he's going through at the time, and it's like, oh wow, like brutal.
He really needs Pete from our time.
Exactly. And then it just, so it's sort of like a setting the table, clearing house. We are hanging out with this character Kintsugi, which is, a pretty not good name. We had the Death Cab for Cutie album, Kintsugi. Like, we get it. Japanese pottery breaks, and then you seal it back up with gold and emphasize the impurities, and therefore it's something stronger, so we call it Kintsugi. But a lot of people think that's really deep and use it. So we get Kintsugi in this. Anyway, Roman, what did you think about it? Like, you've been on this journey as well. I
have, and I agree about Kintsugi. I mean, I've even like give him some other stupid name like Gold Crack or something, and that'd be better, I think.
I love the concept of Kintsugi. I love it. It's an incredible concept, and I love it.
It's not a good superhero name.
Say Gold Crack again. I really like that.
Yeah, Gold Crack.
Yeah.
I'd read that book.
You'd write that book. Wait, you say old crack or gold crack?
Gold.
Zam.
I'm going to be gone for a few episodes. This is a fun book because along the way there to get to the point where he has to like interact with his now past self. Of course, all these things interrupt. He runs into Absorbing Man and Titania. And my favorite moment in the book, a very New York thing, Titania hits him and knocks him into a hot dog cart.
Yeah.
And the hot dog water spills all over him and he almost pukes because it's so disgusting. But then he throws the hot dog cart at Absorbing Man apparently and causes him to absorb like the qualities of the hot dog water. So that's how he beats him.
He smells like hot dogs for the rest of the issue. So everywhere he goes, people are like, "You smell like hot dog water."
Yeah, what the hell?
That's awesome. That's how I would know Bruce Wayne is Batman, because he would smell the same.
That's true. It's the kind of thing that like Joe Kelly, who has written good Spider-Man stuff in the past, but as of yet, this run has yet to like wow me. But that's the kind of thing where he knows Spider-Man enough that he can casually do those sorts of very funny things that I do have faith that this run is going to like pick up and kind of center on itself, but it's felt so scattered with everything else that I enjoyed this issue, but I want more of this type of thing.
Yeah, and in that way, the ending, the little rooftop discussion he has with Kintsugi, the last page, I kind of took maybe as a metaphor for this run, because Spidey is like great heroic pose with the sun setting behind him, and he says,
"That was a great page."
Yeah, all right, kid, I heard you. Cracks make you stronger. Hang in there, Spider-Man. It's all going to be fine. So that's kind of what we get for, okay, it's there, that run's over.
And that's totally what I thought. Like, this felt like a very like, okay, now we have a jumping off point. We've killed Mary Jane's ex-husband thing, where she's Venom. Like, everything that we know about Peter Parker and Spider-Man has kind of been shaken up for the last like 4 years, probably longer. So this felt with a really great final page, just like okay, let's jump boldly into the future. So I dug that. I'm excited to have Spider-Man back in a logical direction, it feels like. So I gave this one an 8.5.
Nice.
I'll give it an 8.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Can I say something that I thought of when you guys were talking about that? Because Spider-Man is, if nothing else, like one of the soap operas of comic books.
Totally.
Right? Like evil twins, marriages, divorces, clones,
negative versions of yourself.
Yeah.
The devil making your marriage dissolve.
Your parents are gone. Your parents are back, but they're gone again.
So, and we talk a lot on this podcast about like who directed, which movie director directed this comic, right? But it just made me think, like, what if we got a Spider-Man TV show that was filmed like a really shitty soap,
but was good?
Well, I mean, whatever. If it's just a Spider-Man soap opera,
so you're saying
comes
like
out once a day, 7 days a week.
So you're talking about like kind of the Lois and Clark equivalent of Spider-Man.
Worse in production value, right? Like true afternoon soap opera, but with Spider-Man characters instead of general hospital characters.
I'd probably be more into it than like a lot of the Marvel shows that are pushed out with some actual value behind them.
Yeah, they could put out 6 weeks of that probably.
I got the title for it.
Oh.
What is it? Days of Our Lives?
No, All My Webs.
All My Webs. The Webs of Our Lives.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Hey, Django.
Yeah.
I got a theory.
Yeah.
That you're reading Absolute Superman.
You know what? Your theory's right.
Because you read Superman. You're a guy that reads a lot of Superman comics now.
I am these days. I don't know what changed. I know when you and I first started getting into this thing, I probably talked a lot of shit on Superman.
You also talked a lot of shit on Grant Morrison, and you don't do that as much. You just know what's going to upset me.
Yeah. Yep. I'm just being polite.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep.
That's all.
And one thing I always feel safe in assuming is that Roman is reading Superman. So I want to have an absolute discussion about this newest issue of Absolute Superman number 19 by Jason Aaron and an artist.
The artist is Rafa Sandoval.
And I want you guys to start it.
This issue has a character, centers around a character that I don't usually care much about.
Totally.
Black Adam.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking of somebody else, actually.
Were you thinking of Steel?
I was thinking of Steel.
I really liked the Steel stuff here.
I loved the Steel stuff here.
The
and I actually
stuff was super cool.
Really have liked the Black Adam stuff in this issue and the previous issue.
So we'll start with Steel.
Let's start with him.
Origin in this universe is that he like lived in his car working at a meatpacking plant for peanuts after having invented the Peacemaker helmets. and being screwed out of them. But like this opens with him in the meatpacking plant trying to fix the machine that kills the cows and being told, no, stop fixing it. Just take this hammer and kill some cows, which is super bummer.
Not my favorite thing.
And then like even at the end, he's sort of denied an amount of his vengeance. He's denied all of his vengeance, really. And I really liked his arc in this issue. We also get Black Adam, just spoiler alert, straight up killing Ra's al Ghul, which surprised me. And I wonder if they're just going to like scoop him up with a shovel and stick him in a Lazarus pit and see what happens.
It seems like a great way to bring back an evil Ra's al Ghul after having him turn a corner in a way that has been compelling.
Yeah. But like, he's dead as shit. The sound effects are whooshik, spletch, splat, bump. Those are all dead sounds. And fwoosh. Those are all dead sounds.
Those are all Don Martin almost sounds.
And like Spider-Man, or Superman screams and says, what did you do? Which is an emotionally impactful moment because Superman has spent most of this series kind of learning to try and turn Ross into a not horrible person, so that has been an interesting bit to this story as well. But the Black Adam stuff is something you had mentioned. And I think that the way that they're doing Black Adam / Shazamiverse in this is really cool.
Yeah.
Like I was never have been super able to get into the Shazamly. And I think that's probably got something to do with like the ancient wizards, like sealed away, like a totally separate source of power than what seems like all of the other type of power in this universe derives from. But this, like, there's a Brainiac tie to the cause and creation of him. And I love the idea of a prophecy and like Black Adam being totally convinced that prophecy was about him, but it's probably about Superman. And so now he has this general apprehension about Superman, but also like resentment as well. Like it's just set up really cool dynamics between a bunch of characters that makes all of them more compelling to me than they are in the main universe.
Yeah. I will grant you all of that. I still don't really care about Black Adam.
Like, what do you think of this Black Adam, Romo?
I really liked him. One of the things I liked about him in this issue is that he actually uses the wisdom of Solomon or whatever, which they always say like him and Shazam, Captain Marvel have it, but then I always feel like Captain Marvel doesn't really use that very often, does he?
Yeah,
often tricked
because he's 15 years old or whatever.
Yeah, but
that's the other thing about them that makes me feel like kids.
Yeah. Though, well, depends on who's writing it. If they do write Captain Marvel as an adult or as a kid. But here, and I love the name King Shazam. I love this character because I kept on thinking the previous issue like, oh, it's going to be Shazam, Captain Marvel, but no. And I just love his dialogue with Superman here. I still am wondering, well, is the prophecy about Captain Marvel? Because we got to get him eventually.
That's
but
true,
I love their fight here. I love the details of it. I love the stuff with Steel. I love the kind of the comparisons between Steel and King Shazam here, both being black men, and King Shazam, when he was given these powers, was a slave who was risen up with these powers. But, he still basically ends up getting screwed over, just like Steel. So I like all that commentary there.
I like that in those narrations, it took a second to be like, well, this could be either of them. So which is this speaking in that moment? Yeah. I like that. I do really like the way that Jason Aaron wrote that, which is like Black Adam was a slave who got power, and people don't like to see that,
Yeah.
So even though it's been thousands of years, Black Adam comes out of this and he assumes that is the status quo still, like, because that is such a human trait, right?
Yeah. And the rich white dude, well, I guess is what Ra's al Ghul, I don't know if he'd be considered white, but he's kept him captive for however long.
Right. Yeah.
But like, if you came out of that situation and you had the wisdom of Solomon, wouldn't you take a beat just like,
You would think
this building's bigger than a building I've ever seen. Maybe other things are different too.
Yeah, these buildings are bigger than the pyramids. What the hell's going on?
Make a boring comic.
Hard things about Shazam is, like, what does the wisdom of Solomon mean for me? You know, I'm just like,
just cutting babies in half. That's all that guy ever did.
We do get this moment in here where there's like subsonic, supersonic, transonic, hypersonic, like Superman, Black Shazam or Black Adam fighting thing. And I just like it because the way that they refer to it, it's just somehow like this moment was the awakening of this era of superheroes. Like this, like so begins the reign of the Superman, because it just affected all of Earth, and it's got this great kind of framing page that it's on with absolute Batman sort of watching the skies. Feels a little bit like a Final Crisis or something. So I just 19. This is just another kind of random issue, and they all feel really good and really compelling and tied in and important.
And we end it with Hawkman, Steel, Superman, Black Adam. Like, that's pretty cool.
They've made this Hawkman a character that I like reading more than other Hawkmans.
Yeah. More of a jerk.
Yeah, he's kind of a butt.
Yeah.
As a Hawkman do. Okay, well, scores for the Ab Superman.
8 for me.
8.5 for me. A hard 8.5, though.
9 for me.
Yeah.
Nice.
Guys, I got a 9. Can I talk to you about this 9? Because I don't think anybody else is reading this.
Yeah, what do you got?
I want to talk about Royals #2 from Image Comics. This is written by Derek Kirk Kim with art by Jacob Perez. I think that's the right. Sorry, the credits in the back, they interview each other. It makes it look like their names and faces are switched. But sorry, Derek Kirk Kim writes it and Jacob Perez does the art. The first issue, we're introduced to these two Korean brothers who are twins and have a telepathic connection, and they're going to take Vegas down. And one of them wins this crazy big poker contest by the other watching it in a bar, getting to see the opponent's hands, telepathically communicate with them. However, the person that they fought or that they beat and took all this money from is like a mob boss leader. So that was all in kind of issue #1. Issue #2, we're like, well, what is all that gonna mean? What is this book even gonna be about? Django, I don't know. I think this is a Django book. I think this is a Django. Issue #2, very much so, for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
The art is great and unique, and the closest comparison I could probably throw out would be Afu-chan in Outer Darkness or Rob Guillory in Chew.
Okay.
I would say the middle third of this book is a really well done chase sequence, but the images, the panel breakup, and the way that they tell the story of mindless action is interesting to me. And that is something that is not usually interesting to me. Yeah. And there's a lot of like kind of dumb, absurdist humor in it, mixed in with like kind of gritty stuff. So like one point, the crime boss gets one of the brothers, maybe he's got both of them at this point, and they like take him down to this room, and they wake up, and one, like, the brother has a bunch of terrible smelling stuff thrown on his face. He's like, this is bullshit. What the fuck is this? And what we learn over the next couple of pages, or the rest of the page, while the guy who threw it on his face is explaining it to him, he's putting these crazy talon claws on a rooster. And he's like, well, this rooster's name is Jean-Claude Van Damme. And Jean-Claude Van Damme has been trained to murder the shit out of any other rooster it smells or senses. And what you have all over your face is a rooster whose name I forget's Poop and Pee. And it's a rooster that Jean-Claude did not like at all. And then so it's like a page and a half of this like interesting panels of facial expressions and weird physical kind of humor, but also real stuff, as this rooster that's getting bladed up and is about to go tear up one of our protagonist's faces. And then the issue ends. But I think it's really well done. I don't know that it's like my favorite type of story, but every aspect of it is well done, and I like it more. I think reading as many comics as we're privileged enough to get to read at this point, it can be kind of easy to identify like, oh, that's the type of story that like isn't bad, but maybe just isn't necessarily something that I'm going to love. So I'll pass it. And this from the outside seems like that, but every aspect of it is so well done that it makes me actually care about this thing that I wouldn't maybe have cared about otherwise. So I just think the art is really interesting. The panel layout and how they use panels and small moments within those panels to tell larger kinetic motion action sequences is really impressive. So I gave Royals a 9.0. And
nice.
Django, I think I could be wrong, but I think you should read issue 1 and 2 because
it sounds like something I'll dig.
It seems like a crank 2 high voltage, like other type of things.
You know what Derek Kirk Kim did that I also liked?
The Last Mermaid.
Yeah, which surprised me.
Right, and he wrote and did the art in that one.
Yeah. But that Afu Chan style art, is it the same artist that did the cover here?
Yes.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool.
It's great.
All right,
it's great. So yeah.
All right,
strong recommend for Royals.
I'm interested in Royals. So you read something called Royals #2 that is surprising, and because it's a more of a Django style book. I read something because I thought that you were going to read it, and it's Ben 10 #1.
I wanted to. Our store sold out. Publication dates are weird. Half of our order for this book comes out next week for some reason because it's a different cover. So we're out of this cover now, and we'll have a huge amount of the next cover next week.
Some reason #comics.
#comics.
Right. Were you a Ben 10 guy?
No, not at all.
Okay.
But I was of the age where I kind of Arrested Development type person in high school was like, yeah, I want to be a famous musician and have a girlfriend, but I also love Dragon Ball Z and I want to go home and watch Pokemon and play The Legend of Zelda and collect Dragon Ball Z VHS tapes. So I always, as I got older, wanted to be closer in touch with that feeling I had as a kid where I just loved cartoon shows. So as I was getting too old for this show, I really, really wanted to like it. I tried to watch a little bit of it, but I was just a little bit too old for it. Erica, Roman made that joke before we started, and even without it, and without him mentioning it on the podcast, that song's been stuck in my head for like 15 minutes right now. I'm totally with you, Erica. So shout out Lord.
Okay, so all I know about Ben 10 is that it has a logo I recognize.
He's got a watch, right?
I don't know. Well,
he's got a watch.
He has something like an alien thing. Here's what I found out. So this is written by Joe Casey, not Joe Kelly, but Joe Casey. Joe Casey's a comic book writer. Joe Casey also had a hand in the Ben 10 show. So he's been involved in this character for a while. I understand that this issue is basically like a comic book telling of the first episode of the show, and it is pretty good. What I heard, and I've got no proof of this, is that this was originally a pitch to DC for a Dial H for Hero reboot.
Cool.
And then when DC said no thank you, this turned into Ben 10. So these two kids on vacation with their grandpa, one of them gets mad at his sister, storms off, and gets wrapped up in a crashed alien situation where this big armband shows up on him. And then like a mechanical bear, which also reminds me quite a bit of The Wastelands by Stephen King, third book in the Dark Tower. The bear shows up, and his wristband turns him into a four-armed alien, and he gets to fight the bear. But then it goes away, and he activates the wristband again, and he turns into a different type of fighter. And there's government subplot, big bad alien bad guy subplot.
Good thing he got his own series instead of a Dial H for Hero, because he's made a lot of money and success off this show because it's a huge deal. But Joe Casey wrote Sex and Amazing Spider-Man and all sorts of huge. He made Deadpool funny.
Yeah, he did a run of Amazing Spider-Man too.
I'm pretty sure. I thought so, but Joe Kelly and Joe Casey also mixed up in my head.
The Joe C sounds.
Joses.
So definitely not something that I have any nostalgic tie to. Not something that I that not really the kind of comic I would seek out, but it was well done. And with those caveats, I'm going to give it a 7.5. I'll bet that if you like Ben 10, this is more like a 9.5 for you.
I mean, we've, like I said, sold out. I think it seems well done and good, and is a thing that people like, that fan base. I would be all over this if it were, like I've been talking about the Energon Universe Transformers and stuff. So
yeah, good stuff.
Roman, did you want to have a quick spot before we talk about Batman and dip out?
Not necessarily. I caught up with last week's books and read Swamp Thing 88 and Ultimates 23, and they were both excellent and very literate, and Ultimates took like 3 or 4 sittings to read it all, but I loved it.
Hey Roman, so on the topic of the Swamp Thing book, so this is the Rick Veitch Swamp Thing. Did you read that Rick Veitch Swamp Thing run as it was coming out? I feel like you probably were.
Oh yeah, because
30 years ago.
Yeah, when they brought Swamp Thing back, I read all the Alan Moore. I still have all the issues up, all 87 issues.
So it must be kind of nice to be able to add this to a box that doesn't get opened and have issues added to that often.
Yeah, and it's funny that this issue, I guess just because of articles like, I don't know, in the Comics Journal and the Comics Press and stuff, I thought we had already had the story of Swampy observing Jesus and the crucifixion and everything, because I'd seen, I feel like panels from it, but obviously this is the first time it's been printed in whole, so it was kind of a funny thing in that aspect. Just oh wow, I never have actually read this, even though I thought it had, just because of all the press about it back in the day.
I bet it's because like they had asked DC if they could tell the story. DC said they could tell the story, so they wrote it and drew it, and then when they turned it in, they were like, you can't tell this story. But I bet that, like many other things, it's been panels, like they had it on file, so like panels and pages have been released in books and stuff.
Yeah, great issue. I mean, I give 10 for both books.
Oh,
nice.
The Ultimates, we talked about it briefly last week, but so that was the one kind of written in epic verse,
Yeah, the alliterative verse, the same style Beowulf was eventually written down into. Boy, it's the whole time reading, I thought it was I was assuming it was Al Ewing. I forgot it's Dennis Camp
writes this. My God.
This must have been so much fun. If you enjoy that style, it must have been so much fun to write this issue.
Yeah, I gotta see if you did another one though. You said 10s for both of them. Wow.
Yep,
that's good scores.
Gooey's.
We got to get to Batman number 9, but can I just scattershot a couple of things here?
Please.
Yeah.
I had a few minutes today, and I read the 2 issues of Batman Second Night in a row. The hardcover just came out this week. And this is Batman set in 1938 or 39. It's got a Superman. At some point, Batman says, there's no way some dude can just fly. Not a chance that somebody can fly. So
that would be weird.
Yeah, but he says maybe he can jump really far, and we can't even understand how far he can jump. And that's what Superman could do back in the day. Yeah. And then eventually he has a conversation with Superman, who says, yeah, I mean, I guess I could maybe get involved in Germany and go take out Hitler, but I can't just fly over there. I would need a bunch of boats to be camped out in exactly the right place, so I could jump from boat to boat. And I was just like, that's a pretty cool way to talk about these characters with the skills and costumes and powers that they had at the time that this is taking place.
Yeah, growing up with tall buildings in a single bound, and then growing up being like, does he fly? What does that mean?
Yeah, what is all of this? And then I also read Elektra Lives Again.
Whoa,
old school. Frank Miller. This is I guess I don't really know. I should have researched this a little bit beforehand. I don't know if this came out before The Dark Knight Returns or after The Dark Knight Returns, but it's the same team. It's Frank Miller and Lynn Varley, who was his wife at the time. My guess would be that this came out afterwards. The only thing that's the different creative team wise is that I guess Miller's doing all of the art, and we don't have Klaus Janson kind of sharpening up his art. It's gorgeous. It's an amazing, beautiful thing. It looks a lot like Dark Knight Returns and like the panel layouts and stuff. It feels like I don't know. It feels a lot like Dark Knight Returns, but then that Daredevil Cold Day in Hell that we just had with Steve McNiven, you can see that that's based on this even more than I realized. I can't say that I really understood the story. I wasn't sure where dreams stopped and real life began in here. I don't think Electro was actually alive again at this point. I think most of it was in his head, but who knows, because he had wounds from it.
So Electro Lives Again was published after The Dark Knight Returns. The Dark Knight Returns was released in 86. Electro Lives Again was released in 90. However, Electro Lives Again was originally conceived in the mid 80s, around the same time as Dark Knight and Electro Assassin. Its release was delayed, and it was ultimately published by Marvel's Epic Comics imprint in 1990.
So there's no way that this could have been hang on. Published by Epic, but released by Graffiti. This is the first printing, and Graffiti is the publisher of it. It also has Dix. So like that stood out to me. I took a moment and thought about Dan Didio. And
you took a moment. You took a moment. There's some Dix here. I'm going to take a moment for myself and go over here into this room.
Yeah. Dick's room.
Richard,
anyway,
Robin.
If you haven't read this, it's awesome. I'll be bringing this one back to the store. I don't know what's in print right now or anything, but this format, this was the original printing that I read, a first printing hardcover. It's huge. The colors are rich. The paper is
Django,
awesome.
Flash it for everybody. Django, I was astounded to hear this, but Django, we got in a first printing of this hardcover, and it would be a shame if nobody had gotten to check it out. So Django is holding it there, but he will be bringing it back to the store. But if you're listening or watching this, you haven't read it, or you like first printings of historical Frank Miller books, that is awesome. I got that.
I don't think it's even really that valuable. I'm gonna put a different layout here so you can see, like, look at this page of Matt Murdock waking up and going downstairs.
And it's also Murdock on a bed, which, like, the recurring Born Again thing of him vertically down on a bed. So to have that horizontally from a bed is interesting.
And it's got this stuff like those panels that are really similar to the Dark Knight Returns. And what I realized is that he crops the art so that there's a line for where the top of the art is and a line for where the bottom of the text is. So it's the same panel size. He's just squeezing words in an interesting way. It's a really cool, interesting snapshot in time. And I think it's worth checking out for everybody.
Well, listen, we're running long, folks, but we do have to briefly talk about Batman #9 by Matt Fraction. This has got Ryan Sook on art. This book has been, I think every issue has just been a blast. Every issue has looked gorgeous. Jimenez is doing the bulk of the art at this point. But this issue follows right on the heels of the previous issue, which is like Poison Ivy and Vandal Savage are like, yeah, we're turning against Batman. I'm the mayor. You're the police commissioner. We're going to just burn this mother.
Batman, more like Buttman.
Exactly. And so this issue is like right after that. And they're like, it's like Batman's on the phone, group chat, group call. Hey, everybody, hold line in. All right, cool. Hey, everybody's here. They're cracking down on us. We've got like 30 minutes. There's a plan. Everybody go to your safe houses, grab your shit, and then meet back. And like, we're going. It's this like rapid issue of a whole bunch of moving parts and pieces as something bad and large is about to happen. And orchestrating all of it is Barbara Gordon up in the Oracle's sort of clock tower, overseeing and giving directions to everybody as they do this kind of impossible thing while in a possibly huge police force and presence is kind of coming down on them. I think we're kind of led to believe that it's just like more cops than have ever been coming down on the Bat fam, and they're coming down on everything. And
all of their safe houses are in trouble.
Yeah. So like they're going to get the necessary things that they can and blow up everything else. We know that Vandal Savage has been living in the Gotham Wayne Manor estate for quite a while, and that's kind of dumb. And this issue, we get some resolution as to Vandal Savage's future tenancy in the Wayne Manor, and some implications as to the future tenancy of Barbara Gordon in her home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Brian Lee says it. I heard Batman blew up his own mansion to get back at Vandal Savage recently or something, according to Facebook. Brian, you're right. Batman and the Bat fam blew up Wayne Manor because Vandal's been living in it and all this crazy stuff's been happening. Spoilers, we just did that. But Django and Roman, we've sort of been talking for a while, like a year or so, about like, why is Vandal the commissioner? I wish that wasn't the case. Why is he living in Batman's house? Kind of wish that wasn't the case. They were set up in previous writers' runs. Matt Fraction kind of inherited a lot of the status quo of this. So this seemed like almost like that Spider-Man thing. It was just like, let's nuke a bunch of shit so we can start in a different direction or have more control of the direction at least.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Vandal Savage is off the board.
No.
Vandal living in Bruce's apartment or house is, which you tell me Vandal Savage didn't find the Batcave.
Oh, he did.
He did?
Didn't he?
Oh,
Didn't we learn that?
Like, he did.
I live moment to moment, you guys.
I think he knows that Bruce is Batman and stuff,
Okay.
unless he lost that memory. But yeah, I think so.
So Bruce just blew up his own house out of spite.
I mean, wouldn't we all?
Yeah, probably.
You want to keep my kids, my bank account, and my house, even though we're getting divorced? Blowing it up.
What did you think of the conversation that Bruce had with Alfred, Ghost Alfred, in the beginning here?
That is, I think, an interesting discussion point. Good question. I had forgotten to mention that. But so up until this point, Bruce has like Alfred Alfred or something that he's talking to in his mask and stuff, or like he gets to see him and talk to him.
I think that there was a point in the first 2 or 3 issues where it became clear that it was Bruce hallucinating, not AI. It was actually like in Bruce's mind. I don't know if he was hallucinating, but he's imagining this conversation with Alfred.
But Bruce says something at the end of a conversation here, and he says like, "I'm glad you're dead. I hope you never come back.
I don't miss you at all, Pennyworth, and I'm glad that you're dead."
Yeah. What do you think was the reason that Matt Fraction wrote that there, Roman?
Boy, I don't know, because I it struck me, even if Bruce is like off his nut a little bit, he wouldn't say that, even if it is like just Alfred in his head. So I don't know. Is it an indicator that, I hope it's not, but is it an indicator that the Batman R or something is still in Bruce's consciousness?
What do you think, gangs?
I took it as like the conversation was about parenting Damian, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Alfred was 100% right in what Bruce needed to do, which was, and I quote Alfred, "Nut up, Buttercup."
Mm-hmm.
I quote Alfred, who's quoting Jason, right?
Who is also Bruce's projection of Alfred quoting somebody else.
Right. But I took it as Bruce just being like, fine, fuck you, you're right.
I interpreted it the same way. I interpreted it, and like I was recently listening to people talking about just like texting and human communication and like sarcasm, and there's not really a way to convey sarcasm adequately through text.
Yeah.
So like a huge amount of transference is lost. But like, yeah, I stopped at that moment and was just like, okay, what is this, Alfred? Is it a hallucination? Is it AI? What is it? Because Bruce would never say that. But it's so over the line that to me it seems like a blatantly sarcastic way of Bruce saying, "I miss you so much every effing day, man." And that's how I interpreted it, because it is a weird bit of writing.
And Alfred's response is, "I shall see you in hell, Master Bruce. Good luck."
Yeah.
Right. Which is Alfred acknowledging the sarcasm, or, you know, the way that I think Bruce intended to say that. Like,
what's it? Oh, and actually, before that, in a way, I was wondering more about the Nut Up Buttercup, because I was like, okay, if Bruce is imagining this, or it's AI. If it's AI, what algorithm? How did it end up with that?
How did he say nut up? But I know, yeah,
and how does Bruce even remember hearing that phrase from Jason or whoever? It doesn't seem like a phrase Bruce Wayne would know.
Yeah, and that's why at this point, I have to, before I can reserve judgment on whether I think it's well done or not, I have to understand what this Alfred is. Is it a projection
in Bruce's head?
Is it like Bruce is losing his mind, or is it just like a happy, like, I'm just talking to the ghost of my friend?
Yeah, I don't think it's losing his mind. It's Bruce Wayne has a tortured psyche. It's his coping mechanism for dealing with Alfred's death, or not dealing with it.
He's a lonely bee.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I support that.
Or Bruce or Batman.
That. I just kind of got to know, and I'm not 100% convinced either way yet.
I'm pretty sure that in a previous issue they kind of clarified that it's just Bruce thinking about it.
Yeah.
Bubba Black says Bruce definitely wouldn't drop the F-bomb and demonetize his podcast. Bubba, the idea that we make money on this podcast is A, fucking laughable, and B, word on the street is after 8 minutes you're good. You can say anything you want.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been casually experimenting with my F's and B's, but I do really, really wish that we could make extra money from all the podcasts, or any money at all from all the podcasts that we do. All right, everybody, listen. We've hit our quota of time. In fact, we're 10 minutes past it.
Brian has a question, though.
This podcast is as dead as Alfred Pennyworth since Tom King's run.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Bummer. Yeah. I give Batman number 9 a 9.5. It was my highest scoring book of the week.
Nice. I'm gonna give it an 8 because I guess we're supposed to trust the plan that blowing up Wayne Manor makes sense. Does not make sense to me.
I just love the execution of the plan, and the Wayne Manor thing at the end, I don't know, but like specifically what kind of gives it the 9.5 to me is everything that happens with Barbara Gordon at the end, and the speed of all of it, and like everything converging in one moment, and the ability for them to tell that story in a weird time crunch like that, I thought was really well done.
In time for her book, Barbara Gordon Breakout. By Mariko Tamaki, which comes out pretty soon. Right?
And the novel she's been working on for the last several hundred issues, Barbara Gordon, Life in a Chair, Ain't Fair.
Yep. We've been just getting little tiny snippets. What kind of score do you give it, Roman?
I can give it a 9.
Number 9.
Good solid.
Number 9. Give it a 9 for a 9.
I love it. I love it. Listen, a huge shout out to all of you hanging out in the chat. We had Ken Alberry, Brian Lee, Bubba Black, some wonderful folks, contributions from Will Elmer, always, Andrew Carlson,
Brian Fudge was here.
Brian
Ken
Fudge.
Northrup was here.
I love Kyle Northrup. I love.
I just want to acknowledge Ken made a joke that.
It was good.
I just want to acknowledge the Ken 10 book that he's working on.
Yeah.
They ruined his book. Still in the planning stages. Ken 10.
Yeah. Yep.
I saw it just after we got rid of it.
Dude. But thank you for hanging out with us. Again, thank you for editing. As always, Andrew, Will, thanks for being a spirit animal. Bubba Black, you're just that buddy that I pet on the head the whole time. I love it. We are always here. You can contribute in the way that your good friends and family do for your life by sending an email of text or audio file nature to jeff@thecomicsplace.com. Django recently set that email address up for us to get direct correspondence for the podcast. So if you want to get
exclusively podcast emails,
jeff@thecomicsplace.com, that'll go directly to me and it'll get filtered directly into the podcast. So thank you all so much for hanging out, listening. Guess what I got to do? I got to go to Fred Meyer.
Ooh.
I got to get some stuff like creamer for coffee for tomorrow morning, or else Jeff will be sad.
Erica, if you're still listening, I have to also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Erica, could you get me some creamer as well?
Yeah.
I hardly know her. Roman, what's yours good signing off?
It's Mother's Day tomorrow. You know.
Oh, happy Mom's
do something
Day!
Nice for your mom.
Yep.
Unless you have a bad relationship with your mom, and then just tell her to piss off.
Wow. Okay, listen, that's not how it goes. We love all you moms. We'll take this moment to
There's
say
bad
thank
mothers
you to all
out
the
there.
There are, yeah, and F those moms. All right, everybody, we'll talk to you next week for episode 427. Wow, a lot of them. Nice, I love that. Now, there you go, exactly. Yep, you got it. Yep.